see a lot of you haven't seen my face in quite a while because of how I've been doing the videos. So today's video, we're going to go back to like old school Ollie's ASMR world, where I'm doing this on the fly. I haven't done these in like so long, probably about a year, maybe more, where literally it's 20 to 5 in the afternoon. I thought, I want to get this video done. I ain't got time anytime this week, apart from now, due to being very, very busy this week. We have a friend come to stay from Saturday for a week, so I will not be able to record next week. I had hoped to record a few videos this week. We're going to see how it goes. I might do a couple like this, just so I've got some content to put out. Anyways, today is Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, and I want to talk about, it hurts to say this because one of these clubs I want to talk about is my club, Manchester United. The other one is our very noisy neighbours, Manchester City. And I don't even know what to put in the title of this video. Maybe too smart for your own good. Maybe use your brains, not the balls. I don't know. Basically, we have two managers here, both at different levels of competence, in my opinion. Like, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not a top manager. If you give me a Thomas Tuchel, I would take him every day of the week over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in my honest opinion. Pep Guardiola is a great manager, and there's a lad on here who will not believe I'm saying that because he thinks I'm always having a pop at Man City. Well, guess what? Today I am, and I believe you will agree with what I say. But Pep is a great manager. But all great men and all great managers occasionally will have a moment where they think they are greater and more intelligent and more smart than everyone else in the world. Einstein thought it. Henry VIII thought it. Who else? Sean Bean, when he was in Game of Thrones, and then look what happened to him. Got fucked up. That's gonna happen if you get too big for your boots sometimes. So it's Man United Fest. It's Wednesday evening last week. Europa League final, taking on Villarreal, a half decent team that dispatched Arsenal in the semi-finals. But this is Man United. This is Edinson Cavani, Bruno Fernandes. Should have been Harry Maguire, but he's injured. This is Luke Shaw, who's in great form, Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford, Scott McTominay, Wan-Bissaka. This is a decent enough team to put away Villarreal. That Man United team is way better than the Arsenal team that played Villarreal. I should have had no fears, but I did. I was worried. I was not confident going into the game. And rightly so. Look what happened. So, they score against the run and play. They're 1-0 up. I'm thinking this could be a pain in the arse because they look very difficult to get past. Pau Torres, their central defender, who we've been linked with, I think he would be great in the Premier League. What a great defender, what a performance that was against United the other day. But before the game, when I saw the team sheet, I saw David Hay was in goal. I was like, okay, this is not going to convince Dean Henderson that his future is United's number one. It's a European Cup final. It's all well and good saying we're going with who's been in all the way through. David Hay had been our keeper all the way through the tournament, so okay, we're gonna go with him. Right, okay, I'll go along with it. The game's going on. It's 1-0. Edinson Cavani scores and equalises. It's 1-1. United pile under pressure. United had chance after chance after chance. Rashford had a tapping, didn't get it. Bruno Saka, he was alright. But the back with no Harry Maguire, we had everybody and Victor Lindelof. Just giving everybody a new deal. I hope that's so we can get a sell-on fee for him rather than lose him on a free. Lindelof, I don't know what we've done to deserve incompetence like that. It's a European Cup final, he loses his marker and the lad scores for Villarreal. It was a simple goal. It was dreadful defending by Lindelof and proved that if we want to compete next season in the Premier League, we need another defender, another central defender. That goes without saying, if you ask me. Now the issue comes when we get towards the end of the game. 90 minutes are coming up. We haven't made a substitution. It's the European Cup final. You're allowed an extra substitution. I believe I think it's 4 changes you was allowed. So we're getting towards extra time. I believe he was allowed an extra change, weren't we? Because it was in extra time, so he allowed an extra substitution. Ollie didn't make a single change until extra time, and then it was only to bring on players to take penalties. So early on in the extra time, I believe it was the first half of extra time, we looked alright. The second half, the second 15 minutes, we looked absolutely knackered. I believe we might have even looked like that in the first half extra time. I can't remember, it's been nearly a week now. I remember thinking, the players look shattered. On your bench, you have the new lad, bloody hell, Diallo. I'm a Diallo. Hang on, guys. We had Diallo on the bench. We had the other lad, Shortieri, I believe his name is. There was Dan James. Okay, he's not the best in the world, but he's one of the fastest in the Premier League. And yet we persisted with Rashford. Greenwood had come off, hadn't he? Because he didn't take a penalty. We brought on Juan Mata. I'm sorry, but he's not really going to do much in extra time against Villarreal. We had who else did we bring on? Alex Telles, proven penalty taker. No issue with that, but he's not going to help us get that goal. You've got a knackered Villarreal side, but then they brought like 4 or 5 fresh faces, fresh legs, who were then going to run at United and run at the knackered United players. We get to penalties. I think, okay, you only need possibly to save 1 penalty. I was literally screaming at the television. Okay, so the way I see it is, it finished 11-10 to Villarreal. Every player on their team scored a goal. We scored 10. If all of our outfield players, all 5, had 5, if all 10 of them score their penalties, they've all done their job. Every outfield player at the end of that game did their job for United. They all scored their penalty. All David De Gea's job was, all he had to do in that penalty shootout was save 1 penalty, and United win the competition. Just 1. So going into the penalty shootout or extra time, I heard this crazy fact that he hadn't saved a penalty in, I think it was like 6.5 years. Something ridiculous like that. I think that was the stat. It turned out he hasn't, with them ones taken the other day, he hasn't saved one now in 36, I believe. 36 penalties he's not saved. He was diving early. He was diving late. He wasn't really diving with any conviction. Sometimes he'd dive and not even stick out his hand to try and get to it. I was like, he doesn't believe he's going to save a single one of these penalties. He's just going through the motions. It was terrible. Absolutely awful. We actually needed them to sky one to have a chance of winning that game. That could have gone on for 50 more penalties, and David De Gea was not saving 1. Who do I blame? Well, 1, David De Gea, since he last saved a penalty. And yet, he didn't use one of those substitutions to bring on Dean Henderson. If you ask me, Dean Henderson saves at least 2 of them penalties. They weren't all great penalties. Some of them were. Some of them no keeper was getting to. But any half decent keeper is saving at least 2 or 3 of them 10 penalties, in my opinion. And that is where Ollie is to blame. He honestly believed that he could just stick with De Gea, and apparently he was going to come good because Ollie needed him to. I don't get it. It was a European Cup final. Fuck bloody De Gea's feelings. That doesn't matter. Get the change on. Get Henderson on. Say, Hendo, I apologise. We didn't back you at the beginning of the game. Go on there now. Win us the cup, and you'll be United's #1 guaranteed next season. And he didn't give him that chance. Absolutely bloody crazy. But was it really as maybe? I reckon maybe there was something in the water in Manchester last week or something, because just when you can't think it's going to get any more weird, it can't get any stranger, we roll on to Saturday night. Saturday's just gone. Champions League final. Man City v Chelsea. Fair enough. Chelsea had beaten Man City twice in the last couple of months. Over the last 7 weeks, I think they'd already beaten them twice. So they had the strongest possible team. They had Reece James at right back, Chilwell left back, or left wing back, right wing back, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Aspilicueta, so an experienced back three, very experienced back three. Kante, Jorginho in midfield to break things up. Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, Timo Werner. Was that 5? Kante, Jorginho makes it 7. Mount is 8. Havertz, Werner, 9 and 10. Yes, that was their starting 11 with Mendy in goal. What did Pep do? I mean, bear in mind, let's just think about this here. N'Golo Kante is probably the best in the world at breaking things up in midfield. Pep Guardiola, his midfield. If you'd asked any Man City fan before the game, any Man City fan at all, who is going to start in your midfield, and you give him £1 million, I guarantee 99.9% of them are going to say either Rodri or Fernandinho, if not both, to counteract the fact that there's Jorginho and Kante in the Man City, in the Chelsea midfield, sorry. Fernandinho or Rodri, did I say Kante for Man City? If I did, I apologise. Fernandinho or Rodri would have been in their starting lineups for that game, if not both. Pep didn't think he needed them. Now, I'm all for innovation. I'm all for having confidence in your team and your players. You know, he's proved us all wrong when we said, why didn't he pick striker? Why is no Aguero? Why is no Jesus? And they've won games. But to go with no defensive midfielder and no striker in a Champions League final, the first Champions League final they've ever reached, you had to have a giggle. I mean, you had to have a little giggle to yourself. Okay, let's think about it. So, Sterling's best time at City, in my opinion, was when they played with Aguero up front. So not this season. He's been pretty average this season, Sterling has. Because he's had no Aguero to play off. Or play with. Mahrez's best time at Man City, sorry, at Leicester City, was when he had Vardy up front to put the ball through to. He went with Phil Foden, Mahrez, Sterling, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne. That's 5, isn't it? And then he had Diaz, Stones, Walker, Zinchenko. That's 9. There's one I'm missing. There's always one I miss. Who else played? Foden, De Bruyne, Gundogan, that's 3. Silva, and he was a bloody passenger. He was terrible for Man City the other day. Absolutely awful. But how the hell Man City Pep can think, okay, we don't need anyone to put a boot in against the likes of Kante and Jorginho. It's okay, we've got De Bruyne. He can do all the hard tackling. Gundogan can, don't get wrong, these players can tackle. Gundogan can tackle and win the ball back. But when he's been most successful this season, he actually dragged them to the Premier League title. You know, his form for them couple of months was fantastic. Couldn't stop scoring. You're then asking him to play deeper because you don't want to play a defensive midfielder. You're asking Sterling to play with no one up top to connect with. Odin to play again with nobody up there to connect with, to play off. Mahrez, I mean, it was absolutely bloody bonkers. Leicester wouldn't have won the league without Vardy being there for Mahrez to, interplay with, interchange with. Man City wouldn't have been successful over the last few years if it wasn't for Sterling and Aguero playing together. I just think Pep Guardiola got a bit too big for his boots, and he got what he deserved. Man City got what they deserved. They thought they could turn up. Flip the script on Chelsea. It's alright, we'll play how we want to play. We'll make the changes we want to make. We don't care what Chelsea do. We're going to beat them with 5 players, let alone 11. And they got what they deserved, Man City. They lost the game. And I could not be happier. I don't like Chelsea, but I do like Thomas Tuchel. I think he's done a fantastic job there. And yeah, I was happy to see Man City again fail on the biggest stage of them all. Long may it continue. Long may it continue. Man City failing to win games. Suits me down to the ground. I say win games, I mean like win the Champions League. But yeah, if he'd just gone with Aguero from the start, or at least at half time, I believe they would take it to extra time and possibly go on and win the game. And also bring on Fernandinho earlier. I mean, it's one thing to make these big decisions. It's another to realise your mistakes. At half time it's obvious, see, we're not playing very fluid football. Okay, let's take off Bernardo Silva, who's having a crap game. Let's put on Fernandinho. Let's take off maybe Sterling or even Gundogan and bring on Aguero. And all of a sudden you've got a different game on your hands. De Bruyne was poor, he ended up going off that bad injury, broken nose and eye socket or orbital bone. Weren't convincing at all. Well done Chelsea, and also well done to Brentford. Brentford are now in the Premier League. I was watching the playoff final last season, Brentford against Fulham, and I was on holiday the next day. I remember wanting Brentford to win. They didn't, did they, obviously, but I was gutted for them then. So I was very happy to see them get past Swansea on the weekend. Blackpool also, congratulations any Blackpool fans. And my hometown of Morecambe have played this afternoon. I've no idea what the score was because I've been working. Let's have a look. Let me take a look at this. Let me. What happened in the Morecambe game? Goals in extra time. Come on, Morecambe. Don't get screwed over by putting Newport. Let's get it sorted, eh, Morecambe? Let's get into League One. Yeah, baby. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the thumbs up if you have, subscribe if you haven't already, comment below, and I'll see you all again soon.